Sorry. Morning, Chair.
Good morning, good morning. Witness F. Please pull the mics closer to you. Thank you. Now I hear you loud and clear.
Chair, we have arranged with, we will need 2 further days for witness F. We've arranged with Mr. Ngwato that we won't proceed today because we don't want to interrupt the existing witness, and we also can't then spill over onto Monday because we have another witness scheduled there. So with Mr. Ngwato, we've agreed that witness F will be excused and will return on the 16th and 17th of February. So we'd ask you to excuse a witness F and direct him to return on the 16th.
Thank you, Mr. Shaskalsin. Witness F, you are excused from further attendance, but you are directed to appear or to be available to continue with your testimony on 16 and 17 February. Do you understand? Thank you very much.
Then, Chair, there is also a postponement application from Mr. Karim, who was subpoenaed to attend today. I need to contact Mr. Karim, or at any rate his legal team, so that we can deal with that. Can I ask if we can stand down for 5 minutes?
Thank you, Mr. Shaskalsin. Perhaps I won't say 5 minutes, we'll come in when you indicate to us to come.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Premier.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners.
We really had our knives out for you because at this commission we start at 9:30 exactly. But we were advised by the evidence leaders that you were here, after 8 somewhere there in the morning? But that you were directed to a holding area and that you were advised to come after it had been indicated to you to come, something like that. So we are not able to chastise you, even though we were really itching to do it.
Chairperson, if I may, considering what happened earlier in the week, I can imagine that you would want to chastise me. And I'm going to resist saying that we were put with our client in a holding cell whilst we were waiting to be called before you. But we are here now and we're indebted for the audience that you are giving us. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. And I understand that you are moving a postponement application.
Yes, Chair, we are, but through the agreement with my learned friend, he will address you first, and then I shall address you afterwards with your indulgence, if that is all right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
yes,
Chair.
Mr. Shaskelson?
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, the decision is with the Commission, not with us, but we don't oppose the postponement application, and I'd just like to set out why, because it's not on the papers. Chair, you will recall that in the course of the litigation last week, in the course of the litigation, the Commission made a with prejudice offer to Mr. Karim that if he needed more time, he could come on the 24th and 25th of February. And our view, and he clearly does need, he says he needs more time, and our view is that if he needs more time, and we made that offer, it would be poor form now that the urgent is behind us to not to hold that offer available. The problem with the 24th and the 25th is that Mr. Karim's attorney will be on Hajj, and so he can't be here on the 24th and 25th. His team offered the 2nd and 3rd of March, which are the first dates after his attorney, the first available dates after his attorney returns to the country. Unfortunately, the Commission can't accommodate the 2nd and 3rd of March, but the first available dates for the Commission after the 2nd and 3rd of March are the 9th and 10th of March. And subject to the Commissioner's agreement, we have agreed with Mr. Premier that we will support a postponement to the 9th and 10th of March. Mr. Karim has undertaken to furnish a statement by the 3rd of March. We have indicated that the difficulty, the potential difficulty with that is that once we see Mr. Karim's statement, we may have to expand the bundle that has been given to him for questioning. Mr. Karim's team understands that they will do their best. They will certainly meet the 3 March deadline. If they can do it sooner, they will. From our side, we will ensure that any additional documents are made available to Mr. Karim's attorney within 48 hours after we receive the statement. So subject to the Commissioner's agreement, we would ask for the postponement to be granted and a ruling to be handed down in those terms, that the matter's postponed, or Mr. Karim is excused and directed to return to give evidence on the 9th and 10th March, that he will furnish a statement to the Commission on or before 3 March, and that if in the light of the statement the Commission wants to add any documents to the bundle that he has already been provided with, they will do so within 2 days of receiving the statement, 2 working days.
Mr. Chaskalson, as it is often said in the court context, an application for a postponement is not to be had merely for the asking. The applicant mentions having been furnished with certain documents. I forget the number of days, but basically the point being that very close to today. Do you want to just give us the factual position in that regard?
It is correct that the bundle of documents for questioning was furnished to the applicant. I think it was Wednesday afternoon, yesterday afternoon. That bundle is very bulky, but the bulk is misleading because it runs to 397 pages, but in truth, about 340 of those pages are documents which were annexed to the chats between Mr. Karim and Mr. Matlala, which were just medical surveillance authorization forms, in respect of which Mr. Karim and Mr. Matlala were communicating. Now, those forms are not documents, the contents of which are going to be relevant to, or are going to be interrogated. It's merely the fact that approximately 350 pages worth of, let me not overstate it, approximately 320 pages of medical authorization forms were exchanged between the parties. So it is the fact of the bulk of the document as opposed to the contents of the document that are relevant. Having said that, neither Mr. Karim nor his legal team may have been certain that that was the case. And so I think he might have understandably have been taken aback at receiving all of these.
May I find out why the documents were not given to the applicant or his attorneys earlier than yesterday?
Well, there are two answers to that question. The first is that the chats and the rest of the annexures that have substantive content that the Commission will be interrogating were given to Mr. Karim sometime last year, I think it was. At the time, we thought that there was no purpose in adding these 320 pages because we weren't going to refer to the content of them. In advance of the hearing, it occurred to us that the fact of the 320 pages was significant. I must indicate as well that there are certain additional pages which were exhibited by Mr. Mokhotsi, or exhibited in the questioning of Mr. Mokhotsi, pages 368 to 397 of the bundle, which were specifically given to Mr. Karim for the first time yesterday. Which were specifically given to Mr. Karim for the first time yesterday. However, back in, I think it was November or December, when Mr. Karim was asking which witnesses have implicated Mr. Karim and which evidence is relevant in that regard, he was directed to the evidence of Mr. Mokhotsi and the annexures to Mr. Mokhotsi. We should, I readily admit, have nevertheless prepared this bundle earlier and made it available to Mr. Karim earlier. In the chaos around the urgent application, it didn't occur to us to proceed as though matters were going to, as though evidence was going to be heard on Friday until the ruling came down yesterday. But we were at fault in that respect. And
Just to be sure I understand, Mr. Shaskalsin, the difference between the 397 and the 320, that is the 77. Are you saying before yesterday, Mr. Karim was aware of those? I just want to be sure that I understand.
Mr. Karim he hadn't pertinently been given these documents. He had been informed you were implicated by Mr. Mokhotsi. Mr. Mokhotzi's, the transcript of Mr. Mokhotzi's evidence is here. The exhibits to Mr. Mokhotzi's evidence are there.
So would the 77 be part of that?
The 77
Is part of
come
that.
from the exhibits to Mr. Mokhotzi's evidence.
Okay. And did we at any stage indicate to Mr. Karim or his attorneys yesterday or soon thereafter, which I don't know when that would be, today I guess, was it indicated that the 77 are documents that he, Mr. Karim, in fact, was already advised where they are? Or rather, was he advised that you have been alerted where these documents are a while back?
No, he
77.
wasn't. He was given the bundle with no covering
All right,
explanation
all right.
yesterday.
Thank you, Mr. Shaskalsin. Yes, Mr. Premier.
Thank you, Chairperson. May I start with some housekeeping, if I may? Last night, via email, we served on the Commission an unsigned copy of the affidavit. We now have the signed copy of the affidavit. It is identical. It's just so that the Commission has the signed copy so that the box under oath is ticked. And if I may ask that we can give that to the Secretariat so it finds its way to the Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, may I just say this? We fully understand that a postponement application is not there for the asking, but I just want to draw attention to what my learned friend, Mr. Chaskalson, just said in response to your questions, Chair. You asked, were those 77 pages given? And my learned friend effectively said they were, but not pertinently pointed out. And the reason I mentioned that is because even though my client received bundles previously, my client's correspondence, which gave rise to the urgent application earlier this week, was to try, as you would understand, in trial settings, to limit the scope of inquiry so that instead of my client having to face a bundle initially of 2,000 pages, then 4,000 pages, we knew what it is we had to deal with. And now for the first time on the record, we hear that of the 400 odd pages, it's only 77 that matter. And so I have to raise the prejudice that my client has faced throughout this process. And of course, I'm not re-arguing the urgent.
Is the situation you are facing, though, not the function of the attitude of the applicant, including his attorneys for that matter, because reading the judgment and in fact being aware of the exchanges that preceded that, according to the judgment of Fisher J, the attorneys refused to even accept service of a subpoena on them and insisted that serve on Mr. Karim, you are not serving on us. And also the judgment, I will not say anything that's being said by the commission. I will emphasize what the judgment says. The judgment, in so many words, of course I'm paraphrasing, says that the applicant and indeed his attorneys were obstructive, and the idea was simply to avoid coming to testify before this commission. So is it not so that the function, or rather the situation the applicant now finds himself is a function of that obstructive attitude or behavior? Because one should look at what the evidence leaders have done or failed to do in the context of what was thrown at them.
Thank you, Chair. May I start at your conclusion? And I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, Chair, on the basis that my learned friend, in talking about the internal processes of the Commission, to narrowing down the bundle and only serving that bundle, which clearly then narrows the scope of inquiry to the extent that that implicates my client, only happened yesterday. And without rehearsing the merits or demerits of the urgent application, you, Chair, will know pertinently that that was one of the issues raised in the urgent, where the reason for the interdict was to say, comply with your own rules, give me the bundle, tell me how I'm implicated so that I can prepare my witness statement and I can come here. Of course, Fisher J is entitled to make the observations that she did of obstructionism. And all I will say, without going back to that, is that the attitude of the attorneys has always been that the client, our client, has to come and testify in front of this commission, but he cannot be ambushed. And until such time that the commission complies with its own rules to properly define the scope of inquiry, he would then be prejudiced as a result. And the resistance put up by the applicant's legal team was to ensure that the outcome we're talking about here today, potentially, if the postponement is granted, could have been achieved. So with all due respect, Chair, I would say that the true obstructionism, in light of the fact that now we have the bundle, which we were asking for from last year already, not a 4,000-page bundle or a 2,000-page bundle, but this very thin bundle of only 77 documents, demonstrates with all due respect that the Commission's legal team, and of course I don't mean any disrespect to my learned friend, but the Commission's legal team could have defined the scope of inquiry sooner. And actually, if the Commission were willing to play ball with my client and not start from the predetermination that he's only objecting because he doesn't want to testify, then maybe we could have reached this negotiated outcome last year already, and my client could have testified.
But quite late in the process, an offer was made, an offer that I think should have taken us to where you say that point should have been reached last year already. And all there was, and again, I rely on the conclusions from the judgment. On that as well, there was interrogatory after interrogatory after interrogatory, as long as an arm and a leg.
Chair, I can accept the view that you put to me, but you will remember that in the context of that attempt to reach the dates, the 24 February dates, if that's the dates that we are talking about, at that time we still didn't have the bundle. So the objection as to why the offer was rejected at that time and the urgent was persisted with is to say, all you're doing is you are changing the hearing of the evidence date from the 6th to the 24th. But the prejudice, and Chair, considering your previous role, you don't need me to tell you anything about fair trial rights and adequate opportunity to prepare and how that relates to Audi. That's the prejudice that we would have faced anyway, because my client would have come here without the benefit of the bundle, without the benefit of knowing what case he has to meet, and then, and again, I'm choosing my words carefully, face a potential ambush. And so insofar as that offer was rejected, and even if, Chair, you would disagree with why that was rejected, I hope you can understand from our side that the consistency is that it wasn't to achieve an obstructed outcome, but rather to ask the Commission to simply comply. And that's why, Chair, now that the documents have been given, we know the case to meet. That prejudice about knowing the case to meet has gone away, but we have inadequate time to prepare because we were only given the documents less than 24 hours ago. So again, and without going into the history of the urgent.
I interrupted you. You were making a point. I hope you've not forgotten it. You are responding to me now. I've heard you.
Thank you.
So you may go back to the point you were making.
Thank you. May I just say one last thing, Chair, because you raised it. You raised the issue of the attorney being obstructive regarding personal service. Now, I know that's not an issue in front of you per se. That's a conclusion reached by Her Ladyship Justice Fisher. All I would point out is that according to the Commission's Act, Section 3.2, if I'm not mistaken, regarding service of commissioned documents, that is supposed to happen in terms of Section 14 of the Criminal Procedure Act. And I'm looking at my junior, Mr. Casey, in case I am mistaken about this. And that section in the Criminal Procedure Act requires personal service. And so Her Ladyship Justice Fisher is entitled to say whatever she wants to about the obstructionism or otherwise of the attorneys. But with all due respect, it's not as though the attorney was acting without cause, particularly in circumstances where now we know what the case is to meet. We're here, and we're just asking for a little more time to prepare. So, Chair, that was my engagement with you and my response to you, but realistically, I've covered all of the comments I wanted to make because you've pertinently put the issues to me. May I just consult my attorney to obtain an...
Just before that,
apologize.
Maybe what I'm going to raise will indeed also require you to confer with your attorney on it. I understand that one of the reasons given for the postponement, and indeed, in fact, for a date as far as the dates that, that Mr. Shaskalton gave us.
9 and 10 March,
9
Chair.
and 10 March, yes. Part of the reasons is that your instructing attorney will be attending or going to the Hajj. Something that I respect for reasons that are obvious. Again, for what you referred to, my previous position, I should respect that. But what I want to find out is whether there isn't another attorney who would be able to attend to this from the attorney's firm.
Chair, may I just, if I may respond?
Yes.
So, the correct position,
Yes.
and I understand that these are not recorded in letters or whatever the case is, and I hope the Commission will take me at my word, is that Ramadan is expected to start on either the 18th or the 19th of February, depending on when the moon is sighted. We initially offered the Commission 2 and 3 March because that was actually the dates when our legal team was available. As my learned friend has said, the Commission is not available on 2 and 3 March. And the 9 and 10 March are actually the dates when my lead instructing attorney will be traveling for Hajj. Umrah, I apologize. There's a difference between Hajj and Umrah depending on the timing in which you go to Makkah, but be that as it may. He will not be here, but we are nonetheless prepared to come with other attorneys and the council team to ensure that there's no disruption. So even though the senior instructing attorney will not necessarily be here, we will be here. And I just want to emphasize that we will be here.
There was something you wanted to take
Yes, I just wanted to
on?
check before I lose my day fee. Chair, I
We,
did.
we had to confer for quite a while, but let me listen what you wanted to confer with your instructing
Yes.
attorney about.
And Chair, then in respect of the arrangement that Mr. Chaskelson set out regarding the filing of the witness statement, the update to the bundle, if we put in the witness statement earlier, we'll get the bundle earlier, and so on. We concur, and assuming that the postponement is granted, we agree
were
with that.
actually conferring about the date by which the witness statement should be filed. And we were thinking that if you actually offered the 3rd of March for a hearing, then it means you are in a position to file your witness statement before the 3rd of March. What we are worried about is the supplement 48 hours after the witness statement has been filed. That's getting us very close to the date of hearing. We as commissioners also need time to read everything that has been filed. Don't you want to just a few days before, maybe the 27th of February? I see your instructing attorney shaking his head. But
Sorry,
just make an offer earlier than the 3rd,
Can we do
if
it?
possible.
Can we do it at 6 a.m. on the 3rd?
On which day?
6 a.m. on the 3rd, the earliest you could do.
Could I just ask for a clarity, please, Chair? Do you want us to tender that date now on the record? Because my only difficulty, and although I understand I have a legal team available, is that I'm in the NHI litigation that entire week, and so I, as the leading counsel who need to be involved in the preparation of the witness statement, am already under significant pressure because of that impact. May I just have a moment to confer with my attorney, please, and I will then place the answer on the record?
Yes, we would like to have the date now because we want to make it part of the order. Do you want us to adjourn for a few minutes and then you indicate to us? I will not state a time of the adjournment. We'll just adjourn and then you'll indicate to us.
I think that I'll be indebted for that because we also need to talk to our clients so that we can talk about dates for prep and so on.
Yes.
I would be indebted.
we could not succeed. Yes, Mr. Premier.
Chair, I understand that there is a mooted date, that the statement is filed on Friday, the 27th of February. Chair, I just want to place the following on record. We would prefer Monday the 2nd for the following reasons. Number one, we've conferred with our entire legal team, who are all tied up in different litigation throughout that week, ending on the 27th. Number two is obviously with Ramadan, this falling during Ramadan, there is, as you might be aware, you have to break your fast in the afternoon, which impacts your ability to work in the evening, particularly with evening prayers and so on. And so we would prefer the 2nd, but obviously, Chair, we are in your hands, and if you determine that it's the 27th, we will comply.
Mr. Premier, Mr. Karim was going to testify today, so and he would have had to testify without a statement if he chose to do so. And I think now we are all doing our best to accommodate the concern that you have raised about the late delivery of documents. We also have other witnesses scheduled, as you would have seen. We sit every day, we're getting documents every day to prepare for the next day. So, and we accept that, your team is involved in other matters. And we'll be busy rather in that week, but that's true for every legal team that appears before us. So we really asking you, even before the chair orders, that you work with us, you do your best to prepare the statement by the 27th, because the expectation, or we cannot exclude that once you file the statement, the evidence leaders may well have to supplement their bundle, which may raise other issues, and then you have the spillover that could threaten the date of the 9th of March. So the earlier we get the statement, in fact, if you can get it to us before the 27th, that would be most welcome. The 27th has to be the outside. And it's really out of concern that already as matters stand, the calendar of the commission is being affected. It's being pushed back, and we have only so much time. So I would implore you to have your legal team find another hour in the 24-hour day. Find an extra hour to make it 5 hours, so that you deliver the statement on the 27th, please.
What gives me a sense of comfort, Mr. Premier, is that you said if we direct that the filing be on the 27th, you will do that. That gives me a sense of comfort. You wanted to respond to Commissioner Baloyi.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Chair. That's exactly what I wanted to say. I just, for the sake of the record, wanted to explain why we have a preference for the Monday. And I'm not unsympathetic to the difficulties experienced by the Commission, and that the calendar is being crowded out. But it's also proper for us to place on record what our difficulties are. May I just confer with my attorney for 1 second, please? And wiser heads prevail. We'll take the 27th. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Premier. Mr. Shaskalsin, I guess there's no need to respond.
Well, not to the dates and the ruling, but I do need to defend my legal team, because I didn't want to rehearse the past, but it has been rehearsed. I need to place two things on record. First, the attitude of Mr. Karim's team was not, give us details, we'll give you the statement, you can come. It was a different attitude. It was, you can either have a statement or you can have oral testimony. You can't have both. Your request for both is unlawful. That was legally wrong, and it was obstructive. The second point that I do want to emphasize in relation to the suggestion that if we had given the bundle earlier, there would have been no problems, is that we had this succession of letters from Mr. Karim's attorney raising a very wide range of interrogatories that they expected us to answer. Eventually, we said, you were due to appear on the 23rd of January. You will have the 23rd of January free. Come and meet with us. We will explain to you, we will try to understand what your issues are. We will try to address them. We will try and sort this out. That would have been a full week before the hearing that was initially scheduled, well, for 30th of January. That request was refused. And so the invitation to the meeting to sit down, try and understand what the genuine concerns were, how we could address them, was just rejected. And to suggest that if we had merely done what we did last night and produced this bundle at an earlier stage, the problem would have gone away is, with respect, wholly incorrect. It would not have gone away. There was a separate, frankly, preposterous legal position being taken that you can't choose which you want. And there was also a deliberate refusal to engage with us in a collegial fashion or in a cooperative fashion to try to get to the bottom of this so that Mr. Karim could come and testify with the information that he needed. I just do need to put that on record because the picture that has been conveyed is, with respect, not an accurate picture.
Thank you, Mr. Shaskalsin. Mr. Premier, we can't keep doing a back and forth.
Chair.
Let's just
Chair,
make our ruling now.
yeah, we're ready to get the show
Thank
on
you.
the road. Let's do
Thank
that,
you.
I think, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Premier. My apologies to be doing this at the tail end. Good morning, Mr. Karim.
Morning, Chair.
Thank you. For reasons that should be obvious to everybody, meaning we are not going to be giving any reasons, we make the following order. The matter is postponed to the 9th and 10th of March 2026. Mr. Karim is ordered to be in attendance and to give testimony on those 2 days and beyond if need be, and to remain in attendance until excused by the Commission. Mr. Karim is also ordered to furnish a statement not later than 27 February 2026. The evidence leaders are ordered to furnish any additional documents within 48 hours thereafter.
Chair, 48 hours is going to be on the Sunday. Can I ask for the Monday? Or at least 2 working days.
All right, let me give a date then instead of mentioning hours. The evidence leaders must furnish any additional documents not later than the 2nd of March 2026. We so order. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. May we be...
You and your team are excused, Mr. Karim, and you
Thank you,
too,
Chair.
Mr. Karim.
we-
Did I say
Mr. Karim,
Karim both sides? No, Mr. Premier.
I'd be very happy to be confused with my client. He's a very handsome man. Thank you, Chair. We appreciate it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Premier.
Chair, do you perhaps want to adjourn again so that we can not do this in front of you?
Let me just, how far is the witness? Should we go out, Ms. Bowe, or should we sit?
Chair, I had asked the witness to be brought to this door so that immediately we can proceed.
Yeah, you may, don't.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Chair, may I also be excused? at
Yes,
this point?
yes, Mr. Shaskalsin. Good morning, Brigadier.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Ms. Bowe.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners.
We are in your hands, Ms. Bowe. Oh, tshwarelo hle, xolo. Good morning, Ms. Sherizi and Ms. Pratema. Good morning.
Chair, yesterday we left off at page 26, so we will continue with the WhatsApp chat.
26.
Yes, page 26 of the WhatsApp chat. And maybe just to direct you also to paragraph 30 of the statement. Paragraph 30 is on page 8 of the statement.
Paragraph. Statement.
Page 8 of the statement at paragraph 30 and page 26 of the WhatsApps. Brigadier, are you at those 2 pages? Okay.
Again, I do realize you have files, so you probably don't have much space to pull the mic closer to you, but it's either you find a way of pulling the mic closer or speaking a bit more.
I will do so, Chair.
Yes.
My apologies. Brigadier, good morning. We are dealing with the chats, and this particular chat is on the 20th of February 2025 at 11:23. You will see there that first, before we deal with 11:23, maybe, no, actually it does start at 11:23. You send what appears to be a list of 140 individuals to Mr. Matlala. Can you see that?
Yes, I can see it.
Thereafter, you send a message at 11:24 saying, "Morning, Mr. V, list of no-shows." In response, he says, "Thank you," and the no-show code. You then respond and say, "I will check with Mgadi," or your office can send her email requesting code for non-arrival fee. He responds and says, "Okay, let me know if you're winning. If not, we'll send her an email." So that's the interaction. You explain this interaction at paragraph 30 of your statement and indicate that it's as a result of an earlier conversation you've had with him where he mentioned a list of 300 non-arrivals, and you were correcting him to say that it was actually 140 because there were 2 subsequent dates. Is that the case?
That's correct.
All right. So now when you look at the explanations after, so the text after you send the tables, what it looks like is that you send this list, he asks you for a code in order to claim for non-arrivals, and then you say to him that you will check on your side, and if not, they will email. So it doesn't necessarily accord with what you see in the text. It looks like it was something that was initiated by you to assist Mr. Matlala. Do you care to comment?
Yes. As explained on the WhatsApp, on my affidavit, I received a call from him on was it the 19th? I received a call from him, and he indicated that they wanted to claim for the non-arrival, and the number of non-arrival will be 300. Maybe let me give a background. In total, we had 553 authorizations for medical surveillance, and those, the medical surveillance was supposed to be conducted on the 19th of August to the 23rd of August. From the 553 that we had, only 206 attended. Now it gives us a balance of the people that did not attend the medical surveillance. Then furthermore, we arrange another meeting, we arrange another appointment. According to him, he thought it was 337 because they are also sitting with the list. We also have our own list. So he needed to compare the two lists on the outstanding medical surveillance. Normally, you will also have your refusals, people that are refusing to do their medicals, which they will also be included on the non-arrival. If we book an appointment, members do not arrive for the appointment because the service provider was already there. He can then claim for the non-arrival fee. But because previously I received an email coming from Colonel Mogadi who indicated that the environment that I was managing with the previous service provider, they had about, I think it was more than $1 million of a fruitless expenditure on the non-arrivals. In order for me to avoid that fruitless expenditure, I spoke to him. We arranged another date. In actual fact, arranging another date, I was prejudicing him because already he was there. Now I'm calling him for the second time for the same people to come and facilitate the appointment. My main concern was to avoid the fruitless expenditure so that it doesn't appear again that even on this service provider, we are paying for the non-arrival, which are amounting to the fruitless expenditure. Then we arrange another date on the 26th to the 27th of August, whereby our outstanding from the previous one, it was 337. And from 337, those that attended, it was 105, which is now dropping the number of 337 to 215. Then the last one, you see, I was pushing him. I was pushing him to the advantage of the organization. Otherwise, I was just going to leave it and for him to claim for the 337. But I wanted to reduce the wasteful expenditure so that it can be less with Medicare. Then again, we call him on the 30th of September 2024 until the 5th of October 2024, which reduced again the non-arrival to 144. Now, when he's saying to me, we have the non-arrival of 300 and something, now we want to claim. I say, no, you don't have 300 and something. According to their record, which they did not update, it was showing 337. Then I further said, let me check to the following day, the name list, then I will forward it was it the 19 when I received that call? I can't remember clearly now. I said, let me check, then I will forward you the name list of the non-arrival, then you can compare it with your list. We need to take note that whatever documents that we were having, even Mr. Matlala was having, the records that we were having, even if it's limited records, he will have full records of the medical files of the members. I then said to send him a list of 140 members, which he was supposed to confirm with the authorization received, the attendance register, as well as the refusal list. Then he's asking me for a code. I don't know why he was asking me for a code, because it's their code, it's not our code. Then I say, I will check with Colonel Mogadi, or your office can request Colonel Mogadi the non-arrival code. Even when they requested Mogadi, it will be their code, because they are the service provider. The code for claiming, it comes from them.
Brigadier, maybe let's start it at the beginning. You say that Mr. Matlala calls you on the 19th. You'll see from the records that it is, it's you that calls Mr. Matlala on the 19th at 16:12. Sorry, that's at page 23. You'll see it's the text block just before the first table. Can you see that?
No, I call him, but while I was on the call with him, as per my statement on 2025-02-19, while I was on a call with him.
Brigadier, you...
Apologies.
Okay, wait, are you just rectifying to say that it was you who initiated the call?
Yes.
And during that call, he then raises this issue?
Yes.
Now, why does he tell you that he's going to claim for the 300 non-arrivals? As opposed to a service provider does the work, they send through their invoice or whatever authorizations they need to send to whoever. Why does he tell you that he's about to do this?
For him, it was going to be for the very first time that he claimed for the non-arrival. I was informed that every service provider regarding the health risk management, when it's their first year, they normally struggle to adjust in the environment. So some of the things, they don't get it right. Some of the things, we also need to be advising them and supporting them in the process. Because if we are not supporting them, otherwise, even from our side, we will be failing. But in this instance, what I did by sending him the list, I'm actually saving the organization. Otherwise, he could have claimed for more than 300.
Brigadier, surely if he had claimed for more than 300, the organization would have run their papers against his to check if that number was correct, particularly when you say that at that point you had checked the non-arrivals and it was an ongoing problem. So if you got a bill for 300 non-arrivals, surely somebody in the relevant department would have checked that.
I wish you can understand the process, how it works. When they submit their claim, they will send, maybe if members attended the medical surveillance, they will send the certificate of fitness that we spoke about yesterday, the COF. Now, when they were to submit the non-arrival, now you don't have a COF. And you'll find the doctors are still busy with the completing the COFs. Then they will send a name list of non-arrival. But in this instance, he didn't even claim for the non-arrival of this 140. It cannot be.
No, Brigadier, let's not go to whether or not he claimed. Let's deal with the process. You are saying that it seems that you're suggesting that there would have been no way for the organization to check whether or not his list would correspond with the organization's list?
They will.
They will.
They
So
will.
if they will, at that point, there was no need for you to save the organization, as it were, because this would have come out in the regular process of checking their work against your records.
If you say so, but according to me, I was saving the organization. You don't know if maybe we have some administration flows that will end up, advantaging Mr. Matala when he's claiming. So for me, what I did to save the organization.
Let's then test the idea that it was okay for him to approach you. You say that, because it was his first time, he needed some guidance. Would you be the right person to do this? As I understood, your evidence is things like invoicing, and that wouldn't come to your environment. Moreover, it's the ECOs who have direct contact with his people. And also from your chat, it's clear that even when he requests a code, you would have to check with somebody else. So it doesn't seem like you would have been in any event the right person to ask this or to guide him in this process.
No, I am. Remember, it was not an invoice. It was just comparison of the name list. I am the right person, and I'm well within my responsibility to exchange the name list with this service provider.
But Brigadier, it goes more than the name list. He's even asking you for the no-show code. So that's directed at getting, and as you say, you can send her an email requesting code for non-arrival fee. So that goes to beyond just the list. It was about for a process for him to claim.
I cannot dictate. What he writes to me, but my response, I have advised him to say that we can check with Colonel Mogadi, or you can send an email and request a code.
No, Brigadier, you say, I will check with
Yes.
General Mongadi.
Yes.
Or your office can send an email requesting the code. So it's you who's playing that role. And in
Yes.
fact, in response, he says, okay, let me know if you are winning. So you're essentially part of this process.
Yes.
And you still maintain that it was your job to do
It's
so.
part of me supporting the service provider.
Okay, thank you, Brigadier.
Thank you.
Perhaps, Brigadier, maybe let's understand what in fact is the role and functions of the environmental compliance officers. What role do they play?
The environmental compliance officer will also play a similar role. They will obtain authorizations. They will schedule appointments with the service provider. Then they will keep the name list of attendance, including the refusals and the no-show.
Yes.
Normally, when you have your no-shows, we don't reschedule another
Yeah,
appointment.
no, don't explain that. So you're saying you basically did that which environmental compliance officers do with this exchange with Mr. Matala. You've just said it's what environmental officers would do. You did it anyway.
You know, Commissioner, sometimes I find it difficult to respond because I want to respond and explain how it happened. What is the role of the ECOs? And where do I come in? Why was I involved in this matter? Now, the first appointment, when it's done, and you have 300 and, for the example that I just gave, you have 337 non-arrivals. Then the service provider must claim for the non-arrivals. But myself, being there, now I'm pushing for an additional appointment. And I pushed him 3 times for the additional appointment. Why I did that? Because I received an email. Remember, I was still new in the environment. I then received an email coming from Colonel Mogadi. And the email is saying, "Good day, General. I hope you are well." That was the email on the 10th of September. "I have a challenge with CR and CSM. For the past years, meaning with the previous service providers, I've been getting a lot of missed appointments from this environment and it's costing the state a lot of money. Currently, I have 20 members that refuse on the day when the nurses are there. I am going to be charged by the service provider for having nurses come and do nothing for that day." The email was sent to myself and General Manamela. As a brigadier, I need to intervene now to minimize the fruitless expenditure. That's when I intervene. And maybe I use my relationship to the advantage of SAPS. If I use it to the advantage of SAPS, then I'm disadvantaging the service provider because his first claim was supposed to be on 337. Then I further push him for a second appointment. Then I push him for the third appointment until that number drastically reduced.
See, the problem with explaining is you end up saying things that don't answer my question. That's why I stop you.
Okay.
You obviously have your reasons why you want to give an explanation. My question is simply this. You are sharing with Mr. Matala a list of members. You then say to him that you tell him, this is the list of no-shows. That's what you tell him.
That's correct.
And then you offer to get him the no-show code for a non-arrival fee, or you say he can request it after you've checked. My question is, you're doing all of this. What is the function? What are the functions of an ECO if you are doing this? You're engaging, you're giving him a list of no-shows, you're offering to find him the code for the non-arrival fee. You're doing all of that. And I simply want to know, if you're doing all of this, isn't this the work or the job or the responsibility of ECOs? And you had already answered that they do this. And all I was putting to you, or what I wanted to put to you is, so you basically were doing that which ECOs do in these pages. It's part of the functions of the ECOs to do the audit and say to him, here, these people, these are the only no-shows we have, not your 300, but the 140. That's something that ECOs would do. That's all I wanted to verify with you.
The ECOs will have stopped their responsibility on the non-arrival of 337. They will have stopped that.
What does it mean? What do you mean? I don't understand.
When appointments are being made
Yes.
and members did not arrive for the appointment, then the ECO will stop, will not initiate an additional appointment.
Yes.
But because of this email,
No, forget the email. Just forget the email for purposes of my discussion with you. I really am not interested in that email. This ECOs would book for 390 people,
they
right?
book for 553.
Yes, and then only a certain number
Will come.
arrive. Mr. Matala, in terms of his contract, is entitled to charge a non-arrival fee for those people.
Yes.
What Ms. Powe was putting to you was, but surely the subsystem would have picked that up. You didn't have to get involved with it at this point because you're not the contract manager. So if he claims for everybody including, if you claim for everyone, right? As if they presented, as if they arrived, you did not have to be the one that says, no, you're only entitled to 140, because the subsystem would have responded to him, would have picked it up and said to him, you're only entitled to claim for 140. That's what Ms. Boyer was putting to you, and I haven't heard your answer to that question. Are you agreeing with Ms. Boyer that the subsystem, those who are responsible for management of this contract, not you, somebody else is responsible to manage the contract. You made a point of telling us yesterday that you're not responsible to manage this contract. Do you agree when Ms. Boyer proposes to you or suggests to you that the subsystem in finance or another section would have picked up that Mr. Matlala is not entitled to claim for 300 or whatever number, but he's only entitled to claim for these 140? Are you prepared to accept that? Or you say, no, if you did not intervene, the SAPS doesn't have a system or a way of picking up that he's not entitled to claim the 300, but only the 140?
I will not say the SAPS doesn't have a system. They do have a system, but sometimes you will have the administration flows. Yeah, there will be some administration errors on the system. The process of claiming for the non-arrival is much quicker than when you submit a claim of with a COF. Because with a COF, the doctor must still wait for the blood result or the urine result. Then they must complete the COF. It must be signed by an OCL. But with the non-arrival, it's just a name list. So this one can be submitted while that other process is still taking place with the doctors. I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
So when you gave him this list, can I just check what you're saying? When you gave him this list, it would have helped him to put in a claim and to get paid sooner than if he had followed the normal process of submitting his claim to the finance, and then they have to wait for other records that you are describing before he gets paid out.
No, it will not have. It will not have. I'm just explaining the process of SAPS where it might be having some flows on it. But it will not have, because these medicals were conducted in September.
And explain, maybe just re-explain what you're saying. Here's what I understand you to say from the last thing you said was the process of claiming is longer because it goes to the CFO, it goes to finance, right? Which I think, I expect that's what happens. It doesn't come to you. It goes to finance, where they require him to submit certain documents. They do their own checks before he gets paid, right? Before payments are processed and approved. I understood you to explain that. That's a normal process. But if he gets a list like this from you, all he needs is a code for the non-arrival fee, and then he submits, and then he gets payment quicker than following that long normal process that is regulated by the contract. I've understood you to say that.
No, Commissioner. No, it's not like that.
Explain it again.
For him, he's already having a list.
From you?
No, from his side.
No, we're talking about this list. I'm asking you specifically about the consequence.
He cannot use
Let me explain myself so that you understand my question. You gave Mr. Matlala this list, right? This is confirmation from you, from your area, that these people did not arrive. You say you get the code for him, or you say to him, I'll get you the code. for the non-arrival fee. So now he's got the information that he needs. He's got a list of people that you have accepted didn't appear. He will submit that, this list and the code. He gets paid on that basis. The alternative to this, if you did not give him this list, he would have had to follow the normal contract process. If you hadn't given him this list, he would follow the process of preparing his own list, submitting it to finance with whatever documents the contract says he must submit, right? And the finance people would then require whatever documents you've told us. There will be doctors signing this and that must accompany his claim for payment. That's a longer process. And that's what you said earlier. That process is long. And so his payment would have been delayed. What I'm proposing to you, or what I'm suggesting to you, is when you gave him this list, you were actually helping him to get payment sooner than the normal process that is prescribed by the contract and SAP's internal processes would have taken for him to get payment. That's what you did with this. You were helping him.
No, Commissioner, it's not like that. I don't even know how to explain it further. Let me take just a low number. If we arrange medical for 20 people, then 10 people arrive for the medical surveillance, and the other 10 doesn't arrive for the appointment. Now, this other 10 will be charged for the non-arrival because the doctors were there. Now, the other 10, when they do their medicals, because they were there for the appointment, now they must be sent to the pathologist. Sending them to the pathologist for the blood test and for the whatever, when it comes back with the result. Now the org health must complete a COF. I'm not talking about the 10 that did not arrive. Then we'll complete the medical report, include it in their file, and compile what we call a COF. Then they can submit the COF, and the COF, once it has been received, the supply chain management will certify the payment because they receive the COF. But with the non-arrival, they can just take the list, their own list, not Matjeng's list. They take their list. They must also, I don't know, they attach the authorization, then they submit to supply chain. It's not the same process.
Okay. Why did you not let him do that here with his non-arrivals? Why didn't you just let Mr. Matala compile his own list in his office? Because he's got the list. So why didn't you just let it be? Let him do what every other supplier who has no relationship with you does, which is they take their list, they attach the appointment, I think you say it's an appointment letter, approvals, and then submit it to finance. Why didn't you just leave it at that?
His list is wrong because he has more numbers on the list than he's supposed to have.
But finance would have picked it up and would have come to you if necessary to say, this is what he's claiming, is this correct? The question I'm asking you is, why was it necessary for you to intervene here when it's not your function to verify these submissions? It's a finance function. Your ECOs have this information. Why didn't you just leave it to run its normal course as contracted with Mr. Matala, as SAPS, not you, as SAPS contracted with Mr. Matala? Claims will be processed. Why didn't you not leave it?
I could not leave it, Commissioner, because for me, I saw he wanted to claim more for the non-arrivals, And at the end of the day, we will be sitting again with the problem of fruitless
No,
expenditure.
you wouldn't.
Just
No, you
like,
wouldn't. No, you wouldn't, because finance would pick it up. It's not your job to do the audits. You've told us that. You've told us your responsibilities. It's not your job to do this. ECOs are responsible for putting up these appointments. Finance is responsible for processing claims for payment. It's not in your job description. Yesterday you said, I have nothing to do with claims. So you would not have had a fruitless and wasteful expenditure because your finance people and your ECOs would have dealt with it as required in accordance with the contract. You inserted yourself into something that has nothing to do with your responsibilities. And I'm suggesting to you that your involvement in this way was because it is Mr. Matjala and you were assisting him. That's what I'm putting to you. You were deliberately assisting him because of your relationship with him. You can comment if you want to.
my comment, Commissioner, I do not agree with your suggestion because I could have assisted any other service provider the same way that I was assisting Mr. Matjala. And even in my office, they know that I'm a hands-on person. Every week I'll call them to say that, come and present this to me, come and present that. So I was monitoring, and the list that was submitted to him, or the list that I forwarded to him, it can be that it assisted him, but also it advantaged the organization because the claim will have been more than
Yes.
what he was claiming.
All right. We don't
What
know that the claim would have been more than, because we don't have that information before us. But can I suggest this to you for your comment? That even if all of this was innocent, even if you were not aiming to assist Mr. Matjala, do you see what it looks like though? Even if with the benefit of hindsight, do you see the appearances of it? That you have a relationship with this service provider, as you described it yesterday, according to you. You have an intimate relationship with him, and here you are doing things that ordinarily, for him, doing things that ordinarily do not fall within your responsibilities, your direct responsibilities. You are assisting him get a code. Yesterday we had other discussions about you calling service providers, and you accepted, your words were, yes, I overstepped. Do you at least see that the appearances of it, or the appearance of it is, you use your position, that's what it looks like. You use your position within the SAPS to assist Mr. Matjala. That's what it looks like, even if that was not your intention. Do you at least accept that the appearances of it are bad?
The appearance might look like that, but Commissioner, I must correct something when you say it is not within my responsibility. It's within my responsibility. It's part of my job description that I also need to manage and coordinate the medical surveillance and biological monitoring. I need to ensure that there's 100% compliance. Although at my level, I'll be managing, I will let him members account. I'll also give direction
Yes,
on what
exactly.
needed to be done.
Exactly my point, ma'am, that you had people whose direct responsibility is this, and they account to you. You told us yesterday your role was to resolve challenges, right? But here we are having you offering to get no arrival codes, no arrival fee codes for Mr. Matjala. That has nothing to do with your job. It's not. It's not your job. So all I'm saying to you is that the appearances of it are not good. And perhaps I should leave it at that, because you have said, even if, yes, you can see, even if that's the appearance, that's not what you were doing. And I'm happy to leave it at that. Thank you, Ms. Bose.
until 5:30, Ms. Bowe.
Oh, all right. Thank you, commissioners.
I was still conferring with my co-commissioners about it. Thank you.
Commissioner Kumalo stepped in.
He was too quick to the draw.
Thank you, Chair. Brigadier, just to wrap this interaction up, do you also accept that there were other ways in which you could have protected SAP's interests, including, for example, alerting the ECOs that, oh, Mr. Matala is proceeding with this process. He's under the impression that there are 300 non-arrivals because of the two others. You just need to make that available so that we're clear. You could also go to finance equally and say, this claim is about to come, this is the number. So there are proactive measures that you could have taken within the organization to ensure that the organization's interests are protected. Do you accept that there were those options, albeit you didn't exercise them?
No, they are not there.
So you're suggesting that knowing that he would have made that claim, that there was nothing you could do but to correct him. There was nothing you could do internally.
Normally, when there are non-arrivals and the non-arrivals are submitted, and I am the coordinator, then I will know Matjeng, Mokoena, and this person did not arrive in the environment.
No, Brigadier, what I'm posing to you is, in the call the day before, correct, you said, during that conversation, Mr. Matala says, I want to submit the 300 non-arrivals. You, based on your position and everything that's reported to you, know that this is not true because there were two other negotiated dates that would have reduced the number, correct? So in order to stop that from happening, assuming that at that point you thought there may be loopholes and flaws in the system, there are steps that you could have taken internally to avoid a situation where he gets to put in that claim without verification? Or are you saying that even with that knowledge, there was no way you could have said anything to anyone within the organization to check that this issue doesn't arise?
First of all, I'm not involved in the claim. When the claim is submitted, I'm not even aware how many members have been submitted for claiming.
Sorry, Brigadier, I'm talking from a point of you are in this call, you are told this claim is going to be made. So this is not an ordinary course where you don't know anything. In this instance, you say on the 19th you knew that he wanted to put in a claim for 300 non-arrivals. So you had that knowledge. It's not the normal time where you're not involved in the process. Here you clearly are.
What about the claim that went in without being verified or certified by the end user? So for me, I was doing my job. As part of my responsibility is also to prevent the fruitless expenditure. There are claims that are going through without consulting or certification of the end user. As an end user, if there are 20 non-arrivals, I need to certify and confirm. And that's what I was trying to explain, to say, if we have Matjeng, Mabena, Ngosi, that did not go for the medical surveillance, and the service provider is submitting a name list to say, I'm claiming for these 3 people who did not arrive for their appointment, then the confirmation must be done with me as an end user to say, Matjeng, confirm these 3 people before we can do a payment. But currently in our situation, service providers submit a non-arrival. Payment will be made without a certification of the end user.
Brigadier, where do we see that Mr. Matala sent you a list of people that he was going to claim for? You did discuss that he's going to submit a claim. You've told us that. So you do have discussions with this particular service provider about claims that are going to be submitted. Let's agree on that from your own evidence. Where do we see, because what we have in front of us is you calling him, and you, the next thing that happens from you is you send him a list of people that did not present. Where do we see that, in fact, you were responding to his claim of 300 plus people, whatever number you say he was going to claim for? Where do we see that?
He did not send me a list. He just indicated that they have 300 non-arrivals, which they need to claim for.
So he did not send you a list? Okay. Thank you.
Brigadier, I'm going to move from this point and go to the next set of chats. There are calls that happen on the 24th, 25th, and let's just turn to the 26th of February. That's still on page 30. There's first a video call, a call at 15:35. Thereafter, Mr. Matlala sends you a message at 15:39, just saying signal. And then you respond at 15:55 with, I'm going to do it on my private phone. Then there's a screenshot. Maybe before I go further, can you explain what was happening here?
Yeah, I think maybe you must take it with a screenshot. My WhatsApp was acting up. There was a problem with my WhatsApp. When I was calling or receiving calls, then I'll get this message of waiting for others. Even when I was called people will be saying to me, are you connecting additional people to our WhatsApp conversation? Then I was showing him the proof that my WhatsApp is saying waiting for others. I don't know why it was saying WhatsApp for waiting for others. Then he said, you must download Signal.
Well, the WhatsApp that you are discussing now comes after he has said to you Signal.
Yes.
You are talking to Mr. Matala up to the 26th on the phone at 15:35. And then it's a call from you on the 26th. And then he sends you a message at 15:39. So you called him 15:35, he sends you a message 15:39. He says Signal. What was that all about?
The same explanation, Commissioner. When I was talking to him over the phone, I told him that my WhatsApp, when someone is calling me, is indicating waiting for others. Then he says, download Signal. Then he forwarded me the name Signal.
Okay. And why? Why did he want you to, what do you know about Signal? And why did he want you to be on Signal? You could have done a normal voice call. So it's not as if your only option was Signal.
It works better than WhatsApp.
But you also say, I'm going to do it on my private phone.
Yes.
Well, it seems that at this point, you and Mr. Matala realize that whatever further conversation you're going to have, it has to be a secret conversation that no one can hear. Otherwise, because that's what Signal does. I think I can put that to you. Let's not debate Signal. People go to Signal to get absolute secrecy, as best as that app can do. So he suggests that to you. Let's go to a more private platform. And then you also say, I'm going to do it on my private phone. Yes, that's you saying, I'll do it on my private phone. So you both agree to leave this phone that you are using in the platform. When if it was simply a WhatsApp problem, which, well, I know I do. If I struggle with WhatsApp, I do a normal voice call. you're not choosing that. You seem to both prefer now to move to a more private platform. Why is that?
He says it works the same as WhatsApp.
Brigadier, is the answer not what appears on page 31 at the bottom of the page?
Page?
31. Is
When
the
he
answer
says they're
not that
bugging it.
Mr. Matlala suspected that his phone was bugged? That's
My
why
phone.
he suggested to you that you move to Signal. He did not want you to continue the conversation
Yeah,
on WhatsApp because he suspected that his phone was bugged.
No, not his phone, my phone. It's my phone because he's saying, I'm sending him a picture
Yes.
which indicate that when someone calls me on WhatsApp, it says waiting for others. Now his response is they are bugging it.
Is he referring there to your phone?
Yes, to my phone.
And then Brigadier, you proceed to say that you're still downloading WhatsApp and Signal on your private phone, network is slow, otherwise we'll call you tomorrow. And that's at page 32 at 1955. You see that? And he responds with okay. Did you end up downloading Signal and having conversations there rather?
Yes, I did.
Thank you, Brigadier. And then you'll see then on the 27th, so the very next day, you continue using this phone, both of you, because he then calls you at 11:26.
Where are you?
The
Which
next,
page are you?
still
You
on
are
page
still on
32.
31.
On page 32. Remember, you say that you then downloaded Signal and then you proceeded to talk on that platform. You see now the very next day, you continue on this phone.
Yes.
Did the fears about being bugged or issues with WhatsApp disappear?
What happened, I deleted my WhatsApp. I deleted the whole of WhatsApp and downloaded it again.
So is this to say then you no longer used that Signal platform,
Yes.
you reverted back to
Yes,
this?
because I was struggling to download the Signal on my phone.
Wait, so you didn't download the Signal?
I can't remember if I downloaded it or not, but I was struggling to download it. Hence, we continue chatting on WhatsApp.
Yes, Brigadier, I just understood you earlier to say you downloaded it and then you had a conversation on that day.
I was struggling to download Signal. Then we had a conversation on that day on WhatsApp.
Oh, on WhatsApp.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not recorded in these chats. So usually, if you would have had that conversation that day, it would appear as a text, like, I mean, a bubble with audio or video call. Maybe I'm misunderstanding you. You were struggling to download Signal, you didn't download Signal. Does that mean that then that was the end of that conversation and nothing else happened? Or is it that you downloaded Signal and had a conversation, but because you rebooted your WhatsApp, there was no longer a need to use it?
I downloaded Signal, but I struggled using Signal.
Okay,
Then I deleted my WhatsApp
yes.
and downloaded a new WhatsApp. Hence, we are continuing using the WhatsApp because I was struggling with the Signal.
So there wasn't a further conversation on the 26th?
On the 26th. No, there was. There it says, I'm still downloading WhatsApp and Signal on my private phone. Network slow, otherwise we'll call you tomorrow. And he says, okay.
Yes, I think we may just be speaking past each other. I take it that you didn't use Signal and there wasn't a
Yes,
separate call.
yes,
The following
yes.
day, you just proceeded to use this phone. That's correct? Okay. Then Brigadier, then let's go to the following day on the 27th of February 2025 at 11:26. It starts there with a call from Mr. Madlanga. You'll see then he responds, you respond. You write to him and say ballistics EC. Right? I just want to see how long. I'm going to run through the entire conversation on this day and then proceed to ask you about it. He responds with a question mark, right? You then say outstanding biological monitoring. At 12:48 as well, again, you say, I do not have a list because it's not from my environment. He then responds and says, can you send the date when the medical was conducted? And then at 13:12, you say, doctor's signature is 28 November 2025. Then you give Mr. Madlanga a call. Just to begin with, can you help place or contextualize this conversation? What were you talking about here?
I think he was looking for some sort of a list, or he wanted to do medicals, or he was struggling with medical surveillance in Eastern Cape. And I said, no, it's ballistic Eastern Cape. He wanted the list. I don't have that list. It's not from my environment.
So in this context, it's Mr. Madlanga who's asking for some sort of list.
Yes.
And you respond and say, ballistics EC.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand, he's asking for a list. Why is that your response?
I don't know whether he was asking for a list or he's asking for clarity. I'm looking at it, but what I know that it was not from my environment. If I'm responding to him to say ballistic Eastern Cape, that means it's not from my environment. Hence, further, I'm saying is the outstanding biological monitoring. I do not have a list because it's not from my environment.
Okay, so this is not from your environment, and then he proceeds to say, can you send the date when the medical was conducted? And then you provide a date. I am assuming that it's a date by when the medical should be conducted, because you then provide a future date that doctor's signature is 28 November 2025. And this conversation happens in February of 2025.
Even that date doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it makes sense only if you say 2025 is an error. Because the previous message says he asks you to send a date when the medical was conducted. So it's a date in the past. So it seems that it would be, you meant 28 November 2024. You agree? You're shaking your head?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you're nodding, rather. Yes, Ms. Boy.
So in this context, was it, I'm trying to understand why is it that if your recollection is correct, that it is Mr. Madlanga asking you for a list, why he would be asking you for this list? I'm assuming he would understand or know what environment you service.
I can't remember. That one I can't remember.
And then do you accept that even this kind of interaction, even if...
Perhaps, yeah, if you can hold your thoughts, and let's resume at 11:45. That's Jane. We are starting a little bit late because the general was in some engagement with Miss Powe and the brigadier. Did I say what? The general. I'm promoting you, brigadier. The brigadier was in discussion with Miss Powe, and yeah, that caused the delay. Miss Powe,
Chair, we apologize about that.
thank you.
Commissioners, Brigadier, we were on page 32 of the chat. And Brigadier, we're just trying to understand that conversation in particular. And just before we took a break, what I wanted to ask really relates to, I know you couldn't give us clarity on the engagement because you don't recall the specifics. But if you had regard to it, it then seems like, again, you and Mr. Matlala are talking about an environment that's not yours, where he's seeking your assistance. Oh, my apologies, the mics.
Remember, for Mr. Matala just knows that I work in forensic. The medicals are from forensic. So for him, he will not differentiate the different component and the different sections. So whereby he needed clarity, he will sometimes call me, then I'll give him clarity.
Are you moving on?
No, I wanted to say, but in this instance, you couldn't give him clarity. And I suppose it just demonstrates sort of the blurred lines, you know, where on the one hand you are, I want to stray away from using the word managing. You oversee this part in your official capacity. And then there's talks, oh, he reaches out because you have a relationship. And so you see this interaction, and as it plays out, it creates that sort of confusion, where sometimes you can't tell whether this is him contacting you as an overall overseer or as a girlfriend to say, help me there, I need this. Do you accept that?
I accept.
Brigadier, I think you do more than just create confusion, because you, according to these chats on page 32, you have a call with Mr. Matala at 11:26. And then the next thing that happens is you say ballistic EC. So, and he knows, he must know what you're talking about when you say ballistic EC. You've just had a call with him. So I think it is reasonable, at least for me, to say your ballistic EC had something to do with the call that you just had. Do you accept that's a fair way of dealing with this? Okay. And then he sends you a question mark shortly thereafter. And then you tell him, you answer his question mark. You say, outstanding biological monitoring. So you provide him with information. He's not asked you. He doesn't say, at least not on the WhatsApp chats. He doesn't say something about outstanding biological monitoring. What this suggests so far is that you volunteer information following your call. You volunteer something ballistic EC. His question mark may mean you're not clear. He doesn't fully understand what you're conveying. And then you tell him what it is. You say, outstanding biological monitoring. And then you go on to say, I do not have a list because it's not from my environment. So you tell him there's outstanding biological monitoring, but you can't provide him with a list. He doesn't ask you for a list after you say biological monitoring. It doesn't say, give me the list. You tell him, I do not have a list because it's not my environment. So you are going to give him a list, except it's not your environment, so you can't do it. Then he says, can you send the date when the medical was conducted? You say doctor's signature is 28 November, and we've agreed it must be 2024, not 2025. So even though it's not your environment, you have gone into the system to find the date, because you've just said to him, it's not your environment. You can't give him information. So we know that what is accessible to you in your environment doesn't contain this information. That's why you can't give him a list. But you have the date. It must mean that you went into that environment, which is not yours, into their system to see the date, to give it to him. That's what this sequence conveys, unless you give another explanation.
No comment, Commissioner.
Good morning, Brigadier.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Is it fair to conclude that if Mr. Matala was not your boyfriend, this sort of communication would not be happening with you, but would be happening with people who are responsible for this line function?
No, it's not fair. I'm dealing with different service providers. I'm communicating with them whenever they are having challenges or when they want to inquire about something.
On similar issues?
As a health risk manager, I'm talking about other service providers, maybe your waste removal contract
Yes.
or your occupational exposure limit contract. Is different service providers.
Yes, so if they have issues with billing, for example, and billing correctly and submitting proper lists and submitting things about the work that they have done, do they normally communicate with you?
No, they don't.
Yes. And do they do it on WhatsApp when they communicate with you? Or is it usually on email?
No, even on WhatsApp, they do communicate.
Thank you.
Maybe just to complete once after you said no comment, I put to you what I say these WhatsApps convey, and you said no comment, and I just want to conclude it by saying that no comment in this case, I take it you accept what I say they convey, because you don't have a comment about it. And that's the basis on which I will treat your response as well. You accept what I've put to you that these WhatsApp messages convey.
I'm not accepting, Commissioner, and the reason for me saying no comment is when you are saying there's a system, I went into the system. We don't have a system that keeps this information.
Okay, maybe then let's explore that further. Where this is not your environment, how would you have known the doctor's signature date of 28 November 2024 for an area that doesn't fall within your space? It's Eastern Cape Ballistics EC, I think it's Eastern Cape, Outstanding Biological Monitoring. How would you have known that signature if you're dealing with something that doesn't belong to your area?
Sometimes when there's a challenge, there's 3 brigadiers in our environment that are managing this. Sometimes when there's a problem or a challenge or whatever, or anything that must be communicated to us, an email will be sent to the 3 of us.
No, but you don't have information, you don't have a list. And you say sometimes, you're not saying that was the case here. Can we just clarify that you're not saying to us now that you got this information about the doctor's signature, that you got that from an email that was sent to you and the other 3 brigadiers, or was sent by 3 brigadiers? You're not saying that.
When medicals are conducted, it's not a list, you'll get a COF. It might be that on 1249, can you send a date when the medical was conducted? It might be a different topic, not the one relating to the other 3
WhatsApp messages.
messages.
Okay, it is not, Brigadier, because between, so the message before, can you send a date? That message is from you to him at 12:48, 47 seconds. You say, I do not have a list because it's not my environment. And at 12:49, 30 seconds, so at 12:49, 30 seconds, he says, can you send the date when the medical was conducted? So we know that there is no other communication between the 2 of you, between these WhatsApp messages. So it's not correct what you're saying, that it doesn't relate to that. If we work off your WhatsApp messages, there is no intervening call, there is no intervening WhatsApp message that indicates that this is a different conversation. In fact, within the minute of you saying it's not in my environment, within a minute, he says, give me the date. And so you know what date he's referring to.
Unfortunately, Commissioner, on this one, I also cannot follow the sequence. I don't know. It might be that on our call, when we discuss, it might be that we discuss 2 things that are relating to this matter. The one for Eastern Cape, and this one of the doctor, because now it's COF. Here we are talking about the list, which is a name list. On the other hand, can you send me the date when the medical was conducted? It's a COF only that will have a date.
I don't know
So
that.
it might be 2 different things. Hence, I'm saying this conversation, it might be, we can break it into 2. But I also cannot follow this conversation. I'm struggling to follow it.
Yes, Brigadier, remember unless now you want to tell us what your telephone call with Mr. Matlala was, you have said to us you don't remember what the telephone call on the 27th at 11:26, you don't remember what it was. So we have to work with that. We have to work with, you do not have a recollection what it is. We can't now, as you're sitting there, start making up what it might not have been with you attempting to give an explanation. We have only WhatsApp messages to try and figure out what could have been the conversation. What we know is there's a call, and that call is followed by you saying ballistic EC. We know that, right? And because there's nothing else, there's no other WhatsApp exchange about ballistic EC, we deduce, and I'm saying to you, it's reasonable to deduce that the ballistic EC must have come from your telephone call with him, because that's what happened earlier at 11:26. You offer ballistic EC, it must come from your telephone call. And then, because anything else doesn't make sense, any other explanation would not make sense. And then he sends you a question mark. You know what that question mark means, because there's no telephone call between you after he sends the question mark. There's no call between the 2 of you. There's in fact you responding, saying outstanding biological monitoring. So you know what that question mark is asking you, and you could only know that from your earlier telephone call. And then he says, and then you say, you volunteer, I do not have a list because it's not from my environment. That's you volunteering. So we know this is not from your area, from what you say in the WhatsApp message. But a minute later, he says, send the date when the medical was conducted. And indeed, you send a date. And what I'm putting to you is, in the absence of an explanation, and all we have is working off these WhatsApp messages, it suggests that you got this information, you looked it up, because it's not in your area. You looked it up, it's not a different conversation, because those two messages are within a minute of each other. So we know we must say it is the same, and you must have gotten this information from an area that doesn't belong to you. That's what I'm saying, that's what it looks like. And that I'm suggesting to you, that's in fact what it is. You went into the system, or you called somebody outside of your area and got this information so that you can give it to Mr. Matlala. Thank you, Ms. Prof.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Brigadier, if we can then move to the following day. Just for orientation, I think we'll look at the conversations until page 35, because that seems like a good way to divide that day. So on the 3rd of March 2025 at 1818, you call Mr. Matlala. There's another call at 1849 and another at 1908. This is then followed at 1910 by a picture of a Lancet invoice. In response, Mr. Matlala sends an email from one James Murray dealing with additional invoices. And then Mr. Matlala follows that up with a message that says, James said he saw this already, and he even communicated with Lancet regarding this discrepancy. You then respond at 1952 with, oh, perfect, and a emoji. I'm not going to attempt to say what that is.
It's a sharp.
Oh, it's a sharp. Oh,
Right.
Oh,
Perfect.
okay. Yes. At your statement, you explain this at paragraph 32. That's at page 8 of the statement. And you'll recall when you were going through your version, there was an exchange with the commissioners regarding this, and you explained that it was because the accounts for the Lancet invoices were in the accounts of members, whereas it ought to have been in the name of Medicare as the service provider. Do you want to add anything to that explanation that you gave?
I must just say on this one of the Lancet report, the members that I assisted, where I intervened that the account must be transferred to Medicare, and indeed they were transferred to Medicare. Those members that I assisted, they are very happy, because now we still have some other accounts which are not yet, they will come in drips and pieces. As they come, then I forward them. So now, sorry, now we are sitting with a situation whereby the account is on the member's name, and the pathologists are threatening to take legal action against the member. So this one, although I was assisting Mr. Matlala, but it's a job well done, because our members are very happy. There's no legal action that will be taken against our members.
Okay, thank you, Brigadier. You said now in your response that this issue still affects some other members. Did this communication then sort of take place on sort of official channels so that it could be remedied for all members?
It did take place on an official channel as and when we receive them. I will send an email to Medicare, then I'll also send Mr. Matlala to say, look, we still have another challenge, please make sure that you correct it. The problem with the email is that when you were sending them an email, they might even take weeks before they respond to your email. So some of the other things are very urgent and requires agent intervention. Hence, most of the things I will send through WhatsApp.
And then this sort of intervention, does it qualify that it would have been brought to, say, the ECO's attention and then escalated to you, and that is why you were intervening?
That's correct.
Okay. Commissioners, I'm going to move to the next set of chats unless there are questions on this. Okay. So still on the same day, at 2013, you sent a text to Mr. Matlala that just meant where you say my medication. And then Mr. Matlala responds and says,
My Ozempic.
It's a medication, Commissioner.
Thank you.
yes, yes, Chair. And then Mr. Matlala responds and says, it's hectic, pricey at 4,500 for 3, but I just gave Leandre. And then also says, I'll push him. You respond with a please and the praying hands emojis or this emoji. And that marks the end of that interaction. Can you explain what was happening here?
Here, it's Ozempic. It works in 2 ways. It assists with stabilizing your sugar levels, as well as weight loss. So normally you will struggle to get it from the chemist. So they had a chemist that they were buying Ozempic, and I then requested him as a boyfriend to say, can I have my Ozempic? And I think the second message is a forwarded message. He sent it to someone responded to say it's hectic at 4.5 for 3, but I can get it. Just gave Leandre his today.
Okay.
Then his response was, I'll push him.
Let me mention the amount is indicated, 4,500 rand.
For 3 pence.
For 3.
Yes, for 3 pence.
In your response, you say that they had a chemist. What do you mean by that?
No, I say it's very difficult to get hold of Ozempic.
Okay.
Yeah, from their side, I don't know, they were getting it from a certain chemist,
When you say their side, who's they?
Matlala.
Oh, him.
Or Medicare, let me say
Oh,
Medicare.
Medicare.
Yes.
Okay, so you were asking him to get it through his sort of Medicare Connect.
Yes.
Okay. And you said that you were asking him as a boyfriend.
As a boyfriend, yes.
Was it because you had a prescription for it that couldn't be filled at a pharmacy, or there was no prescription, rather that you were just engaging
No,
him as a
I had a
boyfriend?
prescription of Ozempic, and I was struggling to get Ozempic.
All right, so you provided him with the prescription to get the medication for you.
Can I comment something on the Ozempic part?
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say, as I have indicated, that the Ozempic, you can also use it for weight loss. At least I was doing it the normal way. I did not go for BBL. Like others did BBLs.
Brigadier, do you want to explain what the relevance of that is? When you say that at least you were using that and not, and didn't go for BBL, what is the relevance of that before this commission?
Yeah, I'm just explaining because I was told that Ozempic will go hand in hand with BBL. And those that I'm seeing at work who did the BBL, they also use Ozempic. So for me, from my boyfriend, I only ask for Ozempic. Unlike those that ask for BBL.
I've just
Are
been
you-
cautioned by Commissioner Kumalo not to mention what BBL stands for.
Yes, yes.
In fairness, Chair, the Brazilian butt lift, for those who don't know, if we're mentioning all of these names, it's mention all of these medical terms. I suppose my difficulty, Brigadier, is that you seem to be wanting to imply something to the commission, or I might be reading into what you're saying. Because you're saying, I only asked my boyfriend for Ozempic, while others have asked for BBLs. Can you be direct with this commission, whether you're trying to tell us something or nothing at all, and then we can move past the BBL part of it?
No, I'm just talking about Ozempic and BBL.
Is BBL too expensive perhaps? So what you are saying is you ask for something that costs only 4,500 rand for 3.
I think if I will have asked him for BBL, he was going to finance it. I don't think he will have a problem in financing the BBL.
But is it more expensive than the
Yeah,
Ozempic?
Commissioner, you must budget around 70, 80,000
All
for
right.
BBL.
All right, now I get the significance of the distinction you are seeking to draw. All right.
Brigadier is Chair, right, that the distinction you're seeking to draw is that you are asking for something cheap? Okay, or affordable rather, let me not say cheap.
Yes.
Brigadier, is it not also that you are indirectly responding to an allegation that was made in another forum? Why are you mentioning BBL in the context of this conversation?
I am indirectly responding to that. And the social media post that I saw yesterday when I was reading on Madlanga, when it was said, she's the one with the BBL. So I'm just saying, no, I did not get the BBL. But they know there's someone who got the BBL in SAPS. Hence those comments. Now they are trying to put the face to this BBL person. So it's not this one.
But you know who it is.
I'm under oath.
Yes, Ms. Bowe.
So can I just, Brigadier, you say they had a pharmacy where they got it. So what you're telling us is, or at least my understanding, is that Mr. Matala and whatever contact he was using here, who says it's pricey at 4,005, they had a particular chemist which supplied them with Ozempic when they wanted it.
I think, I think so, Commissioner.
Okay. And you've agreed that it is a prescription drug.
Yes. And I had a prescription with me.
You had a prescription.
Yes.
You would be able to give Ms. Bowe the details of that prescription. And let me tell you why I'm asking. It's because when I read these messages, they raised a concern that here you have a police officer, being you, who is in fact not only looking the other way, but in fact like instigating a civilian to do something that the law doesn't allow, to get prescription medication without a prescription, right? That was my concern on reading these. You have upfront said you had a prescription, and I want to ask that you provide Ms. Bowe with the particulars of that, in whatever form, but you would have sent it to Mr. Matala somehow, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure someone has got a record. Whoever wrote you that prescription would have a record that they've prescribed it to you. And it is important because you're under oath and we've been giving you a hard time, saying to you, it's improbable, we don't believe this and that and that. And this is one of those areas that I must, in fairness to you, say that I am cynical about your saying you had a prescription. And I wouldn't want to say you were being untruthful about it if you say you had a prescription. But I would like to verify, to be able to say she did provide us with something close to evidence that shows that indeed she had a prescription. Because if you didn't have a prescription, as I've already said, we would have to comment about the conduct of a police officer where someone is breaking the law and they are part of it and they do nothing about it.
Okay. No, I'll go and check, Commissioner. I'm not sure if this one, because I gave it to them, I'm not sure if they still have it, but I know on the other, following this one, I also have prescription.
Okay.
Where I bought it in another chemist. I'll just check.
I think if you can't find this one, the proof of subsequent one will give us context about
Thank you.
this. That's
We'll
fine.
do that.
Thank you.
Brigadier, is Leandre somebody within the SEPs? Just look at the second WhatsApp, the one that mentions the price.
What I'm suspecting on the second message, I think when I said my Ozempic, he communicated with Mike. That's what I'm suspecting. That maybe perhaps he communicated with Mike and Mike says it's hectic pricey. He gave it to Leandre. I don't know who's Leandre.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a forwarded message because from my side, it was showing it was forwarded.
But on the face of it, that forwarded message seems to suggest that they were involved in the activity of getting Ozempic for people and supplying it to people. I'm not saying you know that, but I'm saying this message suggests that where he says, I just gave Leandre his today. So whoever wrote this message seems to have been involved in the activity of procuring and supplying Ozempic for people, which without, as we've agreed, without a prescription, they are breaking the law. You're nodding. Say yes for the record, please.
Yes, Commissioner.
All right, thank you.
Brigadier, just to complete this, that the price of it would have then been covered by Mr. Matala as your boyfriend, or is it Medicare?
The what? Sorry.
The price. Remember, in your response, you indicated that you meant Medicare had a relationship with the farmers and they could get the medication. You suspect that it's Mr. Van Wyk who responds and says its price is 4,500. I'm just asking that, would this then be covered by Mr. Matala as your boyfriend or Medicare?
That will be him as a boyfriend.
Okay, thank you. Then, Brigadier, on now we move to the following day. There is one, you make you call Mr. Matlala at 8:14 and he returns a call at 8:19. You then say to him, please call, I want to test my phone. And then he gives you a call at 9:38. Was there something wrong with your phone on that day?
I remember we spoke about the WhatsApp. When someone was calling me, it was saying waiting for others. So I wanted to test if it's still showing the waiting for others.
All right, thank you. We're going to move to the voice note that you then sent to Mr. Matala at 10:12. I'm just going to ask that we play that. And while we are going to play it, this is addressed at paragraph 33 of your statement.
Re tsena meeting hona banong nkarabe ke kgono itse hore direction e ko bolellang ka yona ko meeting e nkisa kae.
Brigadier, can you, oh, wait, before, should we replay it? Yes, please, can we replay it?
Re tsena meeting hona banong nkarabe ke kgono itse hore direction e ko bolellang ka yona ko meeting e nkisa kae.
Brigadier, can you explain to the commission what you were saying in that voice note?
On
Perhaps maybe just a translation of what you said before you deal with your explanation.
just what? Sorry.
A translation of what you said on the voice note before you deal with the explanation, because I saw you looking on
Okay.
the date.
I was saying I'm going to attend a meeting. He must just tell me so that I know what direction will I be discussing in the meeting. It's a direct translation.
Direct translation. And in your explanation, you say that in the meeting, there was going to be a discussion about outstanding authorizations, and you wanted clarity from him because there were outstanding authorizations, right?
That's correct.
Can you explain what you mean by this when you say there was going to be a meeting where we're discussing outstanding authorization? So as I was asking him to give you an update essentially on them. Is that what you were asking him?
Okay, on that day, we were going to have a meeting between myself and my supervisor, General Manamel, and then we had Brigadier Daku, we have Colonel Mogadi. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss the outstanding authorizations as well as the outstanding COF. This meeting, it was in preparation to the meeting that we were going to attend at Medicare. Now, when we spoke, there were outstanding medicals which needed to be conducted. Now, he promised that he will do it during the week. And when I say we are going to the meeting, I wanted confirmation to say, okay, this authorization, I will be facilitating them on this day so that I can report back in the meeting.
Brigadier, I guess my difficulty is when you listen to the voice note, it almost sounds as if you're saying, give me the direction so that I know what I'll be talking to, as opposed to saying, give me the date by which you're going to facilitate these authorizations.
Isn't there a part that even says in Kisakai where it's taking me.
Yes,
Just please respond to the question with,
it's a date. I will have report to say on 300 authorizations that we have, 10 will be conducted next week. 35 will be conducted whenever. Then we will have so many outstanding from the 300 that we had.
My question is rather that what it sounds like you're asking is for a position to advance at the meeting, as opposed to, in your statement, it's very clear that you were seeking from him the dates on which he would facilitate authorizations. Whereas in the voice note, it sounds as if you're asking him for a position that you would advance so that you understand where that position is going to take you.
sort of give me the direction where all of this is taking me, which is the Inkisa guy, where it's taking me.
I agree, and that's the explanation that I'm giving. Because sometimes it's very much difficult to translate Sesotho to English, or to translate a lingo to English. It will not sound the same.
So are you saying,
Inkisa kore ke reporter o na le bokae? Next week, how many are you going to be conducted? Because we were consolidating the outstanding authorizations.
I mean,
And it can be confirmed by my boss, nothing else.
I guess from listening to it, one would have expected you to say, like, odietsa ning dilo tsela, or difetsa ning, because it implies, it suggests that you want a date by which you're going to do something, whereas this sounds like something else. But nevertheless, if you say that there's something we can get from your boss, then we can get that.
perhaps let's play it one last time, just one last time.
Re tsena meeting hona banong nkarabe ke khono itse re direction e ko bolellang ka yona ko meeting inkisa kae.
Same response.
Well,
Commissioner.
starting, just give us a direct translation of this. I heard it and I have my own ideas about what it says, but I know even in my language, Xhosa, people when they want to duck and dive will say, "Is Xhosa stoligwa?" So you did say something similar, but I just want you to please give us a direct translation of what you are saying here.
Maybe can someone who's objective translate it for me? I'm thinking maybe I'm translating it to suit my narrative. So can someone who's objective just translate?
Don't interpret, just direct translation. Don't interpret.
I'm going to attend a meeting now. Please give me a direction that I will be talking to.
Not more that what you are telling me will take me.
What you are?
You, Mr. Madlala, are telling me will take me to. Isn't that more what you are saying?
If is that the case, we're talking about the outstanding authorization. If he tells me that next week I'm going to conduct those authorization, then I will report as such to say this outstanding authorization, the medical surveillance will be conducted next week.
So
Dear-
sorry, Brigadier, you were going to be Mr. Matlala's spokesperson at an internal subs meeting. You were going to speak on his behalf.
No, I was not going to speak on his behalf. When we have outstanding authorizations, they need to indicate when are they going to conduct medicals for those outstanding authorizations. And these were the long outstanding authorizations that we've been complaining about in the meeting. If Mr. Matlala was going to say, I will not do them now, I will do them in August, then the feedback in the meeting, I will say, Medicare indicated that these authorizations will not be conducted now, they will conduct them. Feedback, as and when we get authorization, we will be requested to give feedback. Why are the authorizations not facilitated? When are they going to facilitate this authorization? And the only way for you to give feedback is when you get feedback from the service provider.
I seem to recall that yesterday we played, or the evidence leaders played a video for us, which had an audio. And it was an internal subs meeting, a similar meeting, where the person in charge, I can't recall if it was General Nkua or somebody else, said, I do not want to hear this from internal subs people. I want the service provider to tell us why these things are still outstanding.
Yes.
That's why I'm asking this question. So my understanding was based on that in these internal subs meetings, the service